Huddle Up Podcast. It is Wednesday, July 26th, 2023. We're closing up the month of July. It is the off-season program. We're glad to have you back. Make sure you are following with us on all of our podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere you can find your podcast. We certainly appreciate the support as always. Follow us on all of our social media, Huddle Up Podcast. On all our social media platforms and YouTube as well. You get our merchandise over at tpublic.com. No student of the game, Kyle Nash, still on assignment, as is Matt. They'll be joining us again in August. And do not forget, we'll be back starting live at the end of August. Tuesday nights, beginning the final week of August, will be the beginning of our live season. So get ready for that, and do not miss it, as we will preview college football first. But going around the room here, we got EJ Christian again. EJ, how we doing?
Doing well. July's almost over.
Good. Mikey B, how you doing, my friend?
I'm as good as Kristaps Porzingis getting a huge ass contract for Boston.
Beauty. And Shawn, my brother Shawn from the Shawn Shine State. How we doing, my friend?
Hakuna Matata.
He's your brother, Jim. That's your friend.
Your brother can also be your friend, you dummy.
He said twice, my brother.
Well, that lets you know the current state of things. He did a good job of letting you know we're okay.
Yeah.
Not your guy, pal.
Are you not friends with your siblings, EJ?
Much your friend, pal.
Like, are you not friends with
my
your
life, I'd have been
siblings?
like, this
Of
is my
course I
brother.
am.
And they'd have been like, is he your best friend? I'm like, no, not even close.
Yeah. So we're good now.
Yeah.
But we got a fun show. We got a fun show today. We're gonna do something that I've done. Two things really that I've done on 3CT, my wrestling and everything else podcast, because on Tuesdays on 3CT we don't talk much wrestling. But we do a this or that. So we'll dive into that, a sports edition of that. We're going to talk about Andrew Luck and his potential Hall of Fame resume. It's a debate this month, but something I've liked to do on 3CT from time to time is I let our listeners and our social media followers give us some topics. So I put it out there. I asked Huddle Up segment. This is the first time we've ever done this here. So let's dive right in. We have 7 questions from our fans. So I will dive right in at Danny 3 Thompson, our pal Danny Thompson over on Twitter. He asks, how does Patterson get used in Atlanta this upcoming year? EJ, your thoughts?
I mean, who's the quarterback again for Atlanta?
It's not Mariota, is it? It's
no,
Mariota's the Eagles
Ritter?
too.
No,
it's Desmond Ritter.
I mean,
It's Ritter. Ritter's the guy. They did sign a backup.
Yeah, your guess is good to mine that one. To be honest with you, I mean, he's done everything at this point, but does that change this year? I don't know. I mean, I've barely seen Ritter play, so I can't even tell you that honestly.
Yeah, Ritter's the projected starter. Taylor Heineke the backup.
Heineke, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So Ritter,
Oh,
in my
it's
opinion,
Heineken
Ritter's
time.
on a fairly short leash there.
Heineke, interesting. I
Look
like
at Heineke.
Heineke. I like him.
But yeah, obviously. So I think this is because
I think
now
Ritter's the guy. I think Ritter's going to be the guy for pretty much the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question, of course, surrounding Cordero Patterson, because over the last couple seasons he's been the lead back there, and lead receiver, lead offensive producer in Atlanta, and now of course with Bijan Robinson being drafted.
Yeah.
They've kind of retold some of the wide receiver options in Atlanta. You have Kyle Pitts, hopefully healthy again in Atlanta. Yeah, I think it's a great question. How does Patterson get used? Mikey, I think EJ is kind of just wait and see. Mikey, what are your thoughts? How does Patterson get used this year?
There's 2 ways that you can use him. One of them is the Deebo Samuel flex player, where he gets carries. He also lines up in formations with Jorn in the backfield. I think he gets used potentially in that route more than as a natural running back. Or there's the other option, which is you use him as trade bait and get a piece back for him that you may need on the defensive side of the ball to help that defense, because the NFC South really is a wild card. You got no real team that really wants to run away with it.
Thing sucks.
Wild card. I don't know what the opposite of a trump card is, but that's the NFC South.
Yeah, pretty much. Any of the 4 teams could probably win that division. Yeah. So if moving Cordero, knowing that you have Bjorn and Drake London and those guys, and now Kyle Pitts hopefully being healthy, if moving him and getting a piece to help the defense.
Don't forget they've added a couple other wide receiver pieces, I believe, in a Mac Hollins and a Scotty Miller. I believe both of those are down there in Atlanta now.
Yeah, so even more options that they have. So maybe this is a Cordero for a defensive
wide receivers do they have?
37 probably.
All of them.
110.
Shawn, your thoughts on Patterson and his use in Atlanta this year?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the options I was going to say, like, one of his potential roles is obviously trade bait. But I mean, he's hurt last year for a peg again, and I don't know how much value you're going to get from him. I feel like you would have more success shopping the rookie from last year. Was Algier? Was that his name? Is that how you pronounce it? I think it's Algier. He was wasn't he a 1,000-yard rusher last year? Did I make that up in my head?
No, I think you might be right.
I'm pretty.
Wouldn't shock me.
I'm pretty sure he rushed for 1,000 yards. Like he trotted for them.
1,035.
Yeah, and this is a team where, like like you guys said, from someone outside Atlanta, like you felt Cordero Patterson was handedly the starting running back there, but Algier took over last year and rushed for 1,000 yards and a handful of scores. So I think a lot of people thought he was going to do that. So I think the question with Cordero Patterson would have been a question anyway, because it's like, well, we have this guy that clearly can just run, and we could just put Patterson in there on, like, he would have been the third down guy. But look, the whole NFL, I mean, if you ask me what his role is going to be, it's going to be part of a committee running back situation. Now, where they're going to use him, because Robinson's great apparently at catching passes as well. Algier, not so much. Algier's probably your first down back, in my opinion. But like, I think that Debo-esque role that you were talking about is something very realistic. And I think it's going to be this kind of hybrid player. And if you're the Falcons and you're trying to win that nonsense division that's not that hard to win, throwing packages, but like nobody runs like a wishbone or like these multi-back positions anymore. And yet every team has a committee of running backs. Why teams don't have formations that put 2 and 3 running backs behind the quarterback at any given time, and essentially, you have all these QB option, moments in the game. Why not use him as like a hypothetical decoy running back? I think he just gives you that walk. I don't think they trade him. I don't think his value is high enough for like that extra little push it could give you for a team that stinks, because they're going to need to score a lot of points because their defense is still garbage. That first pick should have been defensive, except that Bijan just
Not
was
great.
there, and they're like, yeah, I guess that guy.
Not great.
What is that?
Not great, Bob.
Thank you.
Not great.
Thank you. That one didn't want to fire him.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of a mix of the two, where I think that like trade bait was my first thought, but I think that's like low on my list now. I feel like it's very much either he's going to be like the third down back and they're going to slowly ease Bijan in. I think it's going to be a committee early. Bijan's going to take over, and at that point, Correll's best bet is that he's going to be a kick returner.
Yeah, I mean, it's
He's
hard.
One
to
of the
tell.
best kick returners, punt returners in the league. Just let him do it.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been able to do it much because they needed him to run the ball. Now he can just. That's a huge part of the game.
But I mean, the NFL is kind of transitioning away from viably using and having returns, which is a battle in and of itself for a guy like Cordero
Cordarrelle's
Patterson.
not going to call for any fair catches. I'll tell you that. If
No.
he's got some room, he's going to go.
I think if not used for trade bait, and I think that's a
It's
great
realistic.
a great assessment by Mike. I think you could see him in a Tony Pollard type role. Similar, how the Cowboys
Like
kind
1A, 1B, right?
yeah, like kind of the way the Cowboys utilize Pollard, not this past season when he ended up basically becoming the number one back, and now is the number one back, but using him as a running back, as a receiver, as a slot guy, as almost like a wildcat, like basically plug and play him in the offense whenever you need a dynamic play, because he is a dynamic player, and I think like that, he's not going to be the feature guy, but he will get utilized.
Well, I think there's a good chance you see a 1A, 1B, 1C in Atlanta early in the year, and I think Bijan's the C. I think there's a good chance you're going to see a lot of early down work from Algier, and then a lot of like late down work from Patterson to see if people call.
Yeah,
like Bijan's going to get his moments, but they're going to ease him in, and they haven't. I mean, you're talking about 2 recent 1,000-yard rushers. I mean, it's a very easy situation to ease him into. You don't have to like kill him early, But I think that's very realistic, is to use the 2 that they have to see if anyone calls, and then then you can replace one with Bijan.
All right, next one. We have at the C Griffey on Twitter. He says, if the Titans keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster, what position could they sacrifice a spot on? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time.
Well, you can't sacrifice a punter because you're Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, I
can tell you. You're going to need
I'm not going to, for myself, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because I don't think they keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Quite frankly, you have Tannehill, who's going to be your starter, and you have Will Levis, who's going to be your backup. I'm sorry, Malik Willis. Sorry, Malik Willis, but I think you're the odd man out, and I think you're going to end up being a training camp cut.
I don't know. After the title game last year, man, maybe 3 quarterbacks ain't such a bad idea anymore. Just saying. You never know quarterbacks in the league.
Or he becomes their reserve guy, or something like.
Well, reports are that Malik Willis
had a good camp.
Out of camp has. I mean, now given he's outperforming a guy that's never played in an NFL camp,
right?
But the fact that he showed up and they're talking about it's a very different Malik Willis. Now, of course, they're going to say that because odds are they're probably trying to sell him, but I think it's a possibility they keep 3. I mean, there are teams that do it. But everybody's like, well, they 3rd round pick. I'm like, they moved up into the 2nd to get like Levis. They're not going to just cut Levis. So if they're keeping 2, Malik Willis to me seems like the odds-on favorite to be see you later. If they've seen what he's competing for right now is to not be cut. Like for them to do 3, and if you're going to cut a position, I don't think that position's decided on. I think pretty much it's probably going to be something defensive. Their wide receiver room needs to stay big. They don't have the ability. They don't have enough big names to like remove anyone from there. Same with tight end. And the offensive line, they need all the bodies they can get. It's going to be something on the defensive side of the ball, and it's going to be a scenario where it's just whatever position you don't have enough good players at. Is pretty much where they're at. If they decide to keep 3, it's probably going to be a linebacker or someone in the defensive backfield that gets hacked, and it's just going to be like an unfortunate, like, we can't decide, so enjoy the practice squad.
All right, Mikey.
Yeah, I think the problem right now is cutting Malik Willis. He won't make it back to Tennessee's practice squad. Someone will definitely pick him before you get to that point, so I don't think that cutting Malik Willis is an option. So that's kind of weird. You're kind of stuck. So you kind of feel like you have to keep 3. Because Tannehill is just going to be dead money on this cap at that point if you try to cut him or move him. Unless you move him to a situation where Garoppolo doesn't come back fully healthy and you trade him to Oakland or Vegas. You trade him to a team that maybe needs a quarterback or thinks that they're a quarterback away from being threats. I don't think Vegas is a quarterback away from being a threat because of
Jimmy G.
Their decision with moving on from Darren Waller. Dummies. So I think they have to keep 3 quarterbacks. If for some stretch of the imagination they had to move on from Malik Willis, I don't know that it would make sense. And they're probably going to end up sacrificing a defensive lineman or a corner, something like that, where it's like, well,
That's what I'm saying. Whatever room has the
safeties,
weakest
or
guy.
it's
Just
like, oh, we could have 5 safeties, or we could just play with 4.
just cut your weakest defenseman and move on. I think is pretty much what they will do.
Probably.
Yeah.
EJ, anything different on that one?
Cut the kicker. Fuck it. No joke.
You're not going to get in field goal range.
No, I know. No, I
And if
mean,
you do, Derek,
just
just give it to Derek Henry.
stuck with 3, man. I mean, like Shawn said, they're gonna cut somebody on the defensive side of the ball. At this point,
Derek Henry can kick field goals.
You can never have enough quarterbacks on that roster at this point. We learned in San Francisco last year in MC Tallow game. McCaffrey played quarterback for a little while. Like, come on. So they'll have all 3 in the roster.
All right, next one. RSGP Toys on Facebook says over under on wins for the Colorado Buffaloes this year with primetime at the helm. Is anything less than a winning season a bust? So let's recap where they were at last year. They were last in the Pac-12 at 1-11 on the season, 1-8 in the conference. Their only win came against 4-8 California, 20-13 in overtime.
Jesus, is it that bad? I knew they were bad, but
that bad. The year before they were 4-8, so they lost 3 more games than the season prior.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah,
that explains the need.
There it went.
But explains the need to transition to prime time.
Yeah, so Deion Sanders takes over the team. Obviously, very successful at was it Jackson State, and brings a swagger and has got kind of overtaken and really turned over that program. EJ, we'll start with you on this one. Over under on wins.
If they go 500, that's a success right there. Given what direction they were going the last couple of years, if they go with 10 games they play in conference, 10, 11 games.
Well, it's 12 games
9.
on the season. It's usually
so 6 and 6
in the conference.
So 6 and 6. If they go 6 and 6 this year, that's a success there. So over under, I'll say 5. I'll go over.
All right, Mikey.
I think if you win 3 games, it's a success. Well, I mean, look at it from this perspective. You have a whole new coaching system coming into play for a team that had 1 win last year. It means they probably weren't the greatest with the playbook of the previous regime. So now you want all those kids that are already been playing for 1 to 2 to 3 years learning an offense to now learn a completely new offense while also going to school, while also trying to keep certain grades. Probably not a great start. Oh, and by the way, game number 1 on the road at TCU.
Big noon on Fox, week 1, right out of the gate.
Yeah. They may lose by 80.
They might.
That's it. 80. That's it. Oh.
So, Coach Prime needs to worry about getting the new recruits that he's bringing to Colorado mixed with the other guys that are there to find the best ability to be competitive. Weeks 2 and week 3 against Nebraska and Colorado State, I think that's where you figure out, okay, these are the guys that we're going into conference play with. And you give yourself the best chance that you can. Honestly, they won 1 game last year. You win 3 this year. You win 5 or 6 the following year. You're right into bowl eligibility. And then by year 3, you can be talking about being a contender in the Pac-12. You can't expect that one guy that's the head coach that isn't even doing anything necessarily on field is going to get this team 5 to 6 wins just on name. So I'm a 3. If they somehow pull off a 4th one, awesome. But I think a 2-win improvement here, year 1, learning an offense, getting used to playing at altitude. Will his offense work in a high altitude place? Maybe, maybe not. So these are things that we're going to find out. So just a couple wins, I think, is a success in year 1.
All right, Shawn.
Well, the bottom line is, whatever you're setting your over-under at, the only reason anybody's watching is because Deion Sanders showed up. Like, that's the only reason we're talking about this. And there's only so much power Deion Sanders has, like, in the first few months that he's there. And I don't think you're going to see a huge change at all. I think if you beat last year's mark of 1, it's a success. I don't think anybody cares, and I don't think anybody's watching. Success at Jackson State is far different than success in the Pac-12. So Deion's got a big learning curve to go. But I mean, he's been a winner at every level, and I expect him to turn that program around. But his big thing is going to be recruiting. He's going to be able to get athletes with his name, and he's going to. I mean, players are going to know that he's going to have their personal interest at heart, and he's going to have ideas on how to sell themselves. And he strikes me as like an older head athlete that's going to very easily transition into this fast-paced, sell yourself, Twitter, online, TikTok, whatever world we're in. Deion Sanders, I feel like Deion Sanders as a young athlete in today's world would have been even more exciting than the Deion Sanders we grew up with. So he's going to be able to sell that, but it's going to take 4 or 5 years till that actually works. So I think I'm kind of with you. You take 3. I'm taking the under on 3, but it's still a success. Maybe they get to 2, but the big point is that it doesn't really matter because they're still going to be at the bottom or near the bottom of the Pac-12.
All right, so here's the deal. I look at success with primetime in its first season differently than wins and losses. Week 1, big noon on Fox. Week 2, big noon on Fox. Week 3, Saturday night primetime.
You could have stopped there, and that's the reason that they hired him.
Saturday night primetime on ESPN. October 13th against Stanford, primetime on ESPN. November 17th against Washington State, primetime on FS1.
They've already won.
Year 1 is already a success. Okay, looking over the schedule, you're not.
Did you look over last year's schedule, see how many games were actually televised?
No, well, they were televised, but you know, at 10:30 in the morning on the Pac-12 network is different than primetime on Fox, right? Like big noon on Fox, like that's their morning show is at those games. They've already won. Looking over their schedule, they're not beating TCU, they're not beating Oregon, they're not beating USC.
Nope.
They're not beating UCLA. They're not beating Utah. So
that's
at best,
5 losses.
At best case scenario, you're 7-5. And let's be honest, you're not winning out of those remaining 7 games.
Who's left? Iowa State. I don't even know who's on the schedule.
Nebraska, Colorado State, Arizona State, Stanford. You're beating Stanford. Stanford's terrible.
I'll tell you what. If you're going to get,
you're not beating Oregon State. You're 6-6 at best. Arizona's getting better. You're not beating Arizona.
If you take my 2 and one of those wins is Colorado State, it's another win.
You'll probably beat Nebraska because they're a dumpster fire. Although we don't know what they'll be under Matt Rule, but they're a dumpster fire. School. At Colorado State, you're probably going to beat them. You'll beat Stanford. So there's 3. I'll give you 3.
You're taking the Mike 3.
I'll take the Mike 3. Maybe.
Are you giving them Colorado State or no?
I'm giving them Colorado State. You know what? I'll even give them Arizona State. I'll give them 4, and that's a win.
I will fight you on the Arizona State game, and I don't even know who they have left.
Honestly, they get blown out by TCU week 1. They beat Nebraska, they beat Colorado State, and then that Oregon game turns into a primetime game because you'll probably have 2-1 and 24th ranked Colorado going on the road to a top 10.
Oh, they're going to wind up. They're going to inflate. Yeah, if they go 2-1, they'll be in the top 25.
That's what I'm saying. They'll be a top 25 team, and that'll be a primetime.
I'll guarantee you that.
You don't think that the polls are going to be like, give it to them now?
I will guarantee you that right now.
If they're 2-1 going on the road into Eugene, they will be a top 25 team.
Well, don't forget that 2-1 is going to include a loss by, what'd you say, 80 points?
Yes. To number 2 ranked TCU.
No chance they're in the top 25.
Not a chance. I will tell you that right now.
Because you're going to have top 10 teams that fall.
Not a chance.
That are going to crush it.
And there's going to be teams that are in that 26 to 35 pocket that are going to
30, that are 3-0.
Yeah, they are. But guess what? They're not coached by.
No. You are so wrong, Mike. Anyway,
you might want to think that I'm wrong, but I tell you right now.
Market 0.
Look, there's
Colorado.
not a lot of things that I know about, but Mike,
0.0.
Okay, write it down.
You
Write
get
it
no
down.
2-1, and
write it
they
down.
will be in the top 25.
Right.
I'm not going to write it down because I'm not going to forget something that ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't need to
2-1
write
Colorado
down.
is in the top 25. I mean, I can see the argument you're making. Like I'm not saying it's
Well,
unjustified.
no, I can see the argument, but it's absurd. And it's not going to happen.
But it would require
So you
a
don't think
million
they
things to
get out of the
happen.
gate 2-1?
They could get out of the gate 2-1, but they will not be ranked in the top 25.
I could hit the lottery tomorrow, but I'd have to buy a ticket, I guess.
I could also drop a hammer on my ball sack and then be in a lot of trouble. So
I could do both.
like, yeah, no chance. Anyway, next one.
Let's do it.
Devin from Facebook asks us, what's your guys' opinion on the pitch clock in the MLB and who is having the best season so far? Baltimore Orioles, best season so far. Actually, the city, the what do they call the water cannon in left field in Baltimore? That's the best season so far. Here's what I'll say about the pitch clock. I was at a game early in the season.
Oh, I just jacked my thing.
I loved it. I never felt
We
like
probably need to find a way to air this out before so we don't get in trouble.
I never felt like the game was dragging, which I loved. You didn't have those like that like 5th through 7th inning where it was just like, oh my God, this game is going to go on forever. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think there's kinks that are still being worked out. I think how things are enforced, how umpires choose to enforce the clock, like it's not actually, to me, it's not meant to be a hard like a hard timer. Like it's more of like a guide. And I think all umpires need to get on the same page, but that's an officiating situation across sports. Umpires and officials getting on the same page. But early returns on the pitch clock in Major League Baseball, I'm a fan, Shawn.
Well, we've talked, and I'm a purist, and I think the game deserves to be played like a chess match and deserves to be played with all of the artistry and lack of pageantry that it deserves. I went to 2 live games in the last week. I went, now one of them was with a 3-year-old, and I only saw 2 innings of baseball. But still, I was at 2 of the 3 wins the Phils had in Tampa, and I mean, for the most part, you hardly notice it's happening. It's definitely a point. I mean, I know game 1 when I was wandering around the stadium with a 3-year-old. I would be like, how is it the 5th inning already? Like, I was just like, what is happening? So if you're going to be late to a game, it's not a good thing for you. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine. I think when push comes to shove and I really start to like take in the game, and like pitchers are obviously upset because they can't take their time, and managers have their thing. I think they'll iron it out, whether it's with like more challenges or things. Like I feel when the game's moving too fast, there's a lot of things that used to happen in the game that like were noticeable or that were challengeable or that were I don't know, just kind of fun. Part of the reason I always wanted to be a baseball play-by-play guy was because there was all this downtime. I liked the downtime. I think the downtime was beautiful. And I think there was kind of an artistry to it if you were a team that knew what you were doing. So I'll always miss it if it never comes back, and I highly doubt that it will in today's world. But as a whole, it's probably a win for baseball, but it's a loss for me.
All right. EJ.
Love the punch clock, love the efficiency of it. Obviously work on some kicks going forward, maybe add more time to it going forward. But I love the pitch clock. I think it's great. And even as a traditionalist, that hates rule changes, but this is one they needed definitely. So,
all right, Mikey.
I like the pitch clock. I like the competitiveness of having to have less time to deke out hitters by delaying and holding the ball and things like that. So, I actually like the pitch clock. I don't know that I love the additional stuff like the only can break the rubber however many times and stuff like that, because
Yeah, and like
occasionally
asking
getting
for another ball. Like I know Nola got in trouble for that one game, and he was
yeah.
like, "What?"
So it's
You know,
I think they need to be a little bit more clear on that part of the rule, but the physical clock itself, I don't have a problem with. We don't have that like 22-minute 7-pitch at bat from David Ross ever again, because that was god awful. So I don't hate the pitch clock. I don't. It's not one of those things where it's like, if they took it back tomorrow, I would be like, oh my god, I need the pitch clock back. But I don't hate the clock itself. I hate just some of the other dumb shit that they're not enforcing.
that's fair.
All right. Next one, also from the C. Griffey on Twitter. He says, "Are the Buccaneers going to be in the market for a QB next season with Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield being the only two signal callers on the roster this year?" And
Tampa.
I mean, quite frankly, I think that depends on Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield.
Yes,
And I know that's like the easy and maybe
We don't even know
lazy
who the
answer.
starter is.
exactly.
I personally, I think Mayfield will probably be the week 1 starter.
Which I think is a terrible decision,
Um,
in my opinion.
well, I mean, Trask has been there, so you would, I guess, you would think he would have the inside edge. But I think we're gonna find out in the next couple of weeks. Because
Yeah.
Cam's getting ready to start. Obviously Tom Brady no longer there. But you can buy a Tom Brady creamsicle jersey on the NFL shop. I did see
Tampa
that.
Bay.
Because that makes sense.
Why not?
I mean, it's gonna be the best merchandise seller as a quarterback.
Well, if you're going to want a quarterback, like a historical quarterback in Tampa Bay history, there's only 2 that have won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, that one, Brad Johnson.
That's it.
No
No
are
one's
they
buying a
selling
Brad.
Doug Williams jerseys? Because he wore
Can
the
you get a
original
Brad
creamsicle.
Johnson jersey? Can you get a creamsicle Brad
I
Johnson?
mean, you can make one. We can always do the
Yeah.
custom one.
Where does the
You know
wolves
what
away,
jersey
man?
Brad Johnson bought? Tom Brady.
I mean, here's the deal. Like, we know what Baker Mayfield is, right? Like, we know what he's short, he's flashy at times, and he's also crappy at times. So
And he's funny in commercials.
he's funny in commercials. I certainly hope he does. He better have commercials with U-Haul with the number of moves he's made in the last year. But Trask is the big question mark. The guy's been there. He's been under Tom Brady for a couple of seasons, and is he going to be Jimmy Garoppolo coming out from under Tom Brady, or is he going to be Matt Castle coming out from under Tom Brady? Or even
Neither.
worse. Yeah. So I think if I was a betting man, I would say that the Buccaneers are probably going to be in the quarterback market in some form. But I think Trask is the one to watch. I'll say that. Mike,
Can I take 2?
Yeah,
Since I live here.
sure.
All right. For what little I've been able to hear on sports radio, no one down here, everyone's split. Like, from what I understand, like, if there's 2 men doing a radio show or 2 people, not all of them are men. Just down here, most of them are. But people seem kind of split. Like, hand it to Mayfield, give it to Trask. Here's the thing. Like you said, Mayfield's small. His arm strength is adequate. He seems to. I mean, last year in if he hadn't had the little tiny run he had in LA, I don't think it would even be an issue. I don't even know if he'd be on the Buccaneers. But like, the thing with Kyle Trask is like, you have weapons. Like if you were ever going to hand it to an unknown, like, you have a receiving core that is real good. I mean, upper echelon. Like, it's the kind of thing where, like, if you had any name on this team, and maybe Mayfield is that name, and that's why they're like bringing him in. I think you bring Baker Mayfield in as your insurance policy, in my opinion. Kyle Trask is not Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not. Kyle Trask is 6'5". Okay, first of all, 6'5", 240 pounds ish, if I remember correctly. So he's a big guy. His big strength at Florida was that he was incredibly accurate. He wasn't and it just eluded me. The kid out of Florida this year went to Indianapolis.
Anthony
Richardson,
Richardson.
right? Richardson was kind of on the other end. Incredible athlete, questionable accuracy at times. A bit too daring. Like Kyle Trask was like, look, I will put this on the money and I will do that. And I'm doing it in the pocket. And he's mobile enough. He can get away, probably as mobile as Mayfield. So like, in my opinion, I just feel like with the physical tools that Kyle Trask has and the fact that he's still on your roster after 2 years under Tom Brady, like just give it to him. What's the worst that happens? You 3-4 games in are like, yep. Man, do you really think in the NFC South you're going to be out of it mathematically in 4 or 5 weeks?
That's true.
Probably not, because everyone's going to be 2-3. So like you're in a muddled division. I would give it to the kid. I think the best case scenario weighs heavier than the worst case scenario with Kyle Trask. And I don't see any reason, unless he sucks at camp for some reason. But as far as I know so far, things have looked good. So I would take the physical specimen over the aging comedy show. That's where I'm at.
All right. Mikey.
I'm gonna go polar opposite there. Give me Baker. Give me Baker McVan, fucking gunslinger. I'm good with it because the dude's gonna huck it up. He's gonna chuck it up. He's gonna try to win games in a very bad division. That door's wide open to win this division. Same thing I said whenever we talked about Cordero Patterson. Why not just let Baker throw it all over the fucking place? You got 2 of the top 25 receivers in the National Football League and a top 5 duo.
Plus a Gage. Isn't Russell Gage still around?
So I mean, you got weapons to throw it to.
I think they drafted one too.
Let a guy who's known to be a gunslinger throw the fucking football. I mean, Trask. I
I care less. I hope they lose every game because then I don't have to hear about anything.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
That's kind of mean.
Yeah,
Kyle Trash.
That is a disgusting act.
He's kind of booty.
Booty?
Hot booty.
All right.
Means garbage. What was the question again, Jim? I kind of forgot now.
Will the Buccaneers will they be in the quarterback market after this season?
Yes, they will.
I lean yes. We'll see. It all depends on Kyle Trask, obviously, but I mean, I don't suspect he'll be much.
Will they be in the QB market? No, I don't think so.
At the end of the year, I'm not during the year, obviously, but
I don't think so. I think the same 2 quarterbacks ride in next year because it'll be Trask with Mayfield behind.
Oh, look at this.
Sorry, I didn't answer the question originally.
Oh, get
the
fuck
we're
out
getting
of here.
the game running.
What is happening?
What is happening?
Ask him a question. Ask him a damn question.
First of all this Kyle Trask stuff, and I'm like, no, hippies, you better be talking about Kyle Trask, and then you were. So everything was accurate. So, hey, since you guys are all wrestling people and you asked the question of will Kyle Trask be on the market next year, here, I'll answer in your wrestling style. Are you ready? Yes! Yes! Yes!
Well played. All right. Well, so yeah, you say that the Buccaneers will be in the quarterback market after this season.
Absolutely, because they're not going to be a good team. I don't think we're breaking any ground here. And anybody else who they have
sucks.
I mean, well, now that would be Atlanta. Anyways, so shouts to Desmond Ridder, a guy who wasn't even the best quarterback in the American Athletic Conference when he was playing there.
Cold-blooded.
What? You're laughing like he burned. Where is the lie?
Yeah, there ain't none.
Wow.
But
yeah, hot.
That's where I'm at. So they'll need somebody to change it. All the players they do have that are good will start to age out. They'll still have Tristan Wirtz. They'll pay him to protect who's ever going to come in. I'll leave it at that.
Let's not forget that beyond like 4 teams in the NFL at any given time, everyone's in the quarterback market. I'd just like to throw that out there. If the right person's out there, everyone is. But just so we have a baseline, just so you guys are aware, Kyle Trask, regular season stats career, he's 3 of 9 for 23 yards. That is his career regular season stat line. Not terrible,
Not great, Bob.
but not great, Bob.
Trash.
Listen, 3 of 9. All I hear for Star Trek fans is he doesn't even have enough
He
completion.
probably
the
threw
board.
those in a game where he hadn't even seen the playbook. He was just like,
I mean, yeah, that's
throw
not
it to
great.
Gronk, and they're like, Gronk isn't on the team anymore. And he's like,
All right, last question for Ask Huddle Up. Nick asks, do you think Ovechkin has a couple of good years left in him to break Gretzky's all-time goal record? So where we stand today, Alex Ovechkin will be 38 years old before the season starts, the new season, the NHL. He currently sits second place all time at 822 goals, which is 72 behind Wayne Gretzky. He has, I believe it is 3 years remaining on his current contract with the Washington Capitals.
he needs 72 goals.
72. He comes off of 42 this past season, 50 the year before. Now he did spend a short period of time injured this year, but also missed 7 games when he went back to Russia after the passing of his father. So he played 73 out of 82 games this season. He's had a couple of pandemic shortened seasons over recent years, but he's had 92 goals over the past 2 years, and doing it now, actually doing it in an age beyond when Wayne Gretzky retired. So scoring 40 goals at his age is kind of unheard of. Student of the game, Kyle Nash, you're fresh in here. Your thoughts on Ovechkin's chase of the goal record?
I thought our famous friend, the Evil Twin, said 72 goals is what he needs in the next 3 years. Even if he declines, that's 24 over the next 3. That's not at a significant decline. Yes. There we go.
All right, Shawn, your thoughts?
I think I want to lean yes based on those numbers, like he did. I'm the other way. I'm like, a lot can go wrong. Now, if he shows up every year, I mean, he always shows up in great shape. Like, I mean, he's gonna have to bust his ass and be in the best shape of his life, pretty much, like to hang in there. I mean, 40's a lot different. There's only so many Yammer Yagers in the world, and if he can prove to be a Yammer Yager, then I'm with him, because maybe he plays beyond that. But I think he's gonna have to go longer than 3 years to get it.
All right, Mike, since you're more of an expert in this, I will pass you first. EJ, I'll go to you.
Oh, he's definitely getting it. It's a matter of when. He's going to get a fucking record. He'll get it in 2 years, probably.
Ooh,
2.
Yeah.
Dang.
Over in 2 years. Under.
Look,
go.
I'm not. I don't hate that. I don't hate
taking
that
the over.
Akoshi,
I'm with you that he
Homer.
gets it. I think he's just going to have to play
in
more.
the slightest.
Homer.
I don't hate that at all.
Homer.
I like that. Mikey B, let's go to you, host of the 5 for Fighting on the Huddle Up podcast.
Yeah, I guess I'll homer this up also. He
Homer.
will get the record.
Homer.
I'm gonna go as far as even saying that somewhere around February of 2025 sounds like a good time.
Okay.
40 this year puts him in a 34-ish run that second year of the contract, which would end around, I don't know, February, March-ish. So tail end of that season, I think if we can get back-to-back 40 burgers, that gets us there. So
And this year coming up is clearly the year that sets it all up.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if he does 40
this
again,
year's a critical
then
season.
it's like great. But if he's injury ridden or like it's a low score, like
if he throws anything over 30 is a success.
I think as far as the numbers go, that's realistic. Yeah, sure.
Especially because there will be changes that happen in that organization.
Yeah, I mean, new coaching staff.
Mark it down. February 2025.
They are trending in a younger direction.
Buy your tickets.
So maybe youth is part of the secret here that'll kind of reinvigorate his career. I mean, it's hard to say reinvigorate a career when at 37 years old he had 42 goals. That's kind of unheard of, but
Maintenance at this
Hopefully
point.
he gets back on track.
Needs another 50 burger. Look, at 72 goals, I'm in the camp of it will happen. It's a matter of when, not if, at this point. If
he's
he
gonna play until he gets it.
Yeah, and I think that's that's the point I was getting ready to make is that if he finishes out this contract and you know again barring and I've said this for the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, when you get into your mid to upper 30s in the NHL, it kind of becomes that game of will the body hold up, especially for as physical as he's played over the course of his career. He's not missed a lot of time due to injury. He's missed more time in the last couple of years, but again, he missed 9 games this season, 7 of which were due to him going back to Russia when his dad passed away. So he missed 2 games otherwise this season. So even at 36, 37, the body is held up. So barring some sort of really long-term injury, yeah, I think it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen within the terms of the contract, I think he will sign another season and they will basically just force feed him empty net
The real
goals
question is Sidney
until it
Crosby
happens.
gonna get the tantrums record?
No, he'll
Already does. Already does.
Homer.
Already holds
Homer.
it.
Already does.
Most
Homer.
tears shed.
Homer.
Already does. Yeah.
Hey, listen, for all the trash I talk, though, gentlemen, Shawn, your point about Yammer Yager is well made, but anomalies compete with anomalies. I think we could say Ovechkin is that, right?
He already is, right?
Yeah.
He's essentially in the same class of
Yeah.
hockey player as Jaromir Jagr, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
we'll
I
see if
mean-
he's still playing competitively at age. What's Jagr? 75.
Well, yeah, the
175.
73. Have some respect.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, it's when it happens, not if it happens. I would love to see it in the terms of this contract.
And of course, you would love to see it happen in Washington.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there a point where he has to take it? Like, you don't want to have to start having that battle if you're Washington. You know?
I don't think there would ever be a battle. I don't think
You just
Alex
keep paying
would go.
him until he has.
Yeah,
it.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Alex
no,
would.
I
One-year
don't.
deals. Just
I don't think he's
hit it.
going anywhere else. I don't think he wants to go anywhere else. This organization has been home since day one.
LA.
And I would love for it to have the actual record to happen in Washington. They did not. They were not at home when he broke Gordie Howe's record.
Yeah, that's one
or
of
no,
those
they
where-
were at home when he broke
All right,
Gordie
because
Howe's.
James is the Capitals fan.
Um,
Jim.
yes.
The record is going to be broken on the road. What's city choice number 2?
that's a good question.
What city do you want him to break it in if you know it's not going to happen in Washington?
Oh, I have my answer.
Vegas.
That's pretty good. That's
Where he won his cup. That's where he had his finest hour.
Good answer.
So,
I mean, other than stealing UCF's mascot, no, Vegas is the jam.
give me Vegas. Mike, what's your answer to that one as the other Capitals fan here?
I woke up today and I chose violence.
Oh, I know. Okay. I know where you're going.
Pittsburgh, maybe?
You want to be Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was where
Maybe.
I was pushing for. I
Just
wanted to hear
maybe.
Pittsburgh.
Come on now. It's
I feel like Vegas is a good answer. I feel like Pittsburgh's a great answer for any time somebody's going to break a record on the road.
I got Boston.
And Edmonton would also be a really great
Edmonton
answer.
would be a good one.
Yeah.
I got Boston because fuck them. That's why.
I don't know why EJ's answering this question. He's a fan of 85 teams in sports.
Hey,
so, Patriots.
Except Boston. Except Boston.
That's not true. We just learned a lot about the Atlanta Falcons. He likes 86 teams now.
No, okay. Well, point well made. Thank you, sir. No, and as much as he's going to talk trash on Boston, he is in fact a Patriots fan. So that's problem number 1 there.
Score it in Boston. Well,
Hashtag
when you
fact.
say
But
Pittsburgh out of
they rep the
anger,
entire New
you're
England-
saying
New
Pittsburgh
England.
and Boston.
Fair.
No, I'm saying Pittsburgh.
Like, as far as
because
I'm concerned, if I say
I want him to
Pittsburgh
take
or
his gloves
Boston,
off.
I mean both.
No,
Hey
I
man,
see.
look, like I'll say this, I'm not the biggest fan of the Blackhawks organization, but I thought their crowd when he hit 800 in Chicago was fantastic. So if there's another spot that he would have to do it on the road,
Because that's a hockey city.
I think any of the original 6 cities. Actually, I'd love it to happen in New York too, because fuck Rangers fans. Sorry, EJ.
Yeah, fuck.
Wait, why am I
Hey,
apologizing
EJ's
to
a
you?
hockey fan? When did that happen?
Yeah, I was gonna say what. Why am I apologizing to EJ? Anyway, so thank you everyone who contributed to the Ask Huddle Up segment. It is something that we will certainly do again in the future, and we enjoyed your answers. Next topic du jour on tap here on this episode, and this is one that EJ, I feel like I saw you in a discussion with somebody on Twitter about this, and or somebody was talking about it.
As a
And
response to it.
yeah, like so Andrew Luck will be eligible for the NFL or the Pro Football Hall of Fame next year.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, will Andrew Luck be a Hall of Famer? You know what, EJ, I will lead to you first because you are where I saw this topic and I saw the response, so I will lead it to you first. Do you think Andrew Luck is a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
I'll say as much. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, if anything. He's not first ballot. But I did see some interesting numbers. I'm trying to find the breakdown. I might have deleted it off my phone because I ran
His
it. But
career
his
numbers?
his numbers in his 6-year span, which compares with only like the likes of Pat Mahomes, Dan Marino, and Peyton
we
Manning.
move
Well,
on.
that I mean,
You'll have to explain the rules.
He played
That's
what 7 to 8 years in the league?
6 years. 6 years.
He played 6 years in the league?
Yeah, he was in the league for 7, but he did not play one season because of injury. So I have his numbers here. Career passing percentage, 60.8, 23,671 yards, 171 touchdowns, 83 interceptions. He also added 14 rushing touchdowns and almost 2,000 rushing yards.
So check this out. So he has a
combined record 53-33 in the regular season. He was 4-4 in the.
So I found the numbers here. So he had 171 passing yards, which is third all time, trailing only Marino and Mahomes in that span. He's fourth in yards with 23,671, trailing only Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, and Patrick Mahomes. And then he averaged 275 yards a game, third all time behind only Matt Stafford, of course, in Detroit, mostly in Detroit, and Pat Mahomes. So, to me, what we were discussing on there too, also, the only thing that hurts him really is the sample size, the lack of sample size, rather. And, the only comparison you really have is Gale Sayers, who played 7 years in the league as running back and made it in Hall of Fame. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, I'm not sitting there saying he should be the first ballot, but these numbers, look, you play what you play. I mean, he retired, it is what it is, but this is what you have. And what you have here is numbers that are comparable to some of the greats in this game, in that span. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and fight for a first ballot spot, but is he a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done based on what he did? I mean, he was really good in all 6 years he played. The numbers say so, and it's a numbers argument. So I would lean yes, not first ballot though, but I would lean maybe yes.
Right. So you're EJ, you're going yes.
Yeah.
Mikey B.
Yeah, I'll put him on the yes side of the argument. He's a guy who, coming out of college was going to be a guy that you would probably put in the upper tier of quarterbacks playing. Big arm strength, playmaker.
The term was suck for luck, Burn. I'm just saying. The term was suck for luck, bro.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the injury aside, and then the unfortunate ending with him being booed out of the building at Lucas Oil because they broke that news before he could, about him having to step away and taking care of himself. He's also very open about that stuff. That's something that's, kind of revolutionized the quarterback position as a whole. They kind of left him hanging out to dry. Didn't really go and ever really help his offensive line. It gives me straight up Derek Carr vibes.
David Carr.
David, yeah, not Derek. David, fuck. With him getting murdered behind no offensive
Baby,
line.
you can drive my car.
Yeah. So it's one of those where I think Andrew Luck, career projection, he was going to get there. But I think it's been one of those things where he was a good quarterback, not great. So, maybe not the first ballot, but he did a lot for the game. He was a piece that will always be talked about, not just for his having to step aside, but, those Indianapolis teams that he took to playoff runs, they weren't household names. They were kind of wear your lunch pail and, bring your hard hat and, fuck some people up. So I liked Indianapolis when he was there. Sucks that he got hurt because I would have thought he would have had a very good career moving forward, especially with the pieces that they've now added to the formula in Indianapolis. Sucks that it got cut short because of the injuries and him having to put himself first.
All right, very good. Student of the game, Kyle Nash.
So, Ernest E.J. Christian, for once, not abusing numbers, but using them force for the good, really actually made some brilliant points there over and above this. I might add this, gentlemen. What is the main reason for Andrew Luck's departure? It is not his playing. It is certainly not anything other than ownership decrying, well, not decrying, that's not the right word, but basically removing this option for us. We were robbed of Andrew Luck, just like we were robbed of Gale Sayers, just like we were robbed of Sterling Sharp, who should be getting the same consideration, if you ask me as well. It's a whole other conversation. At the end of the day, there's too many haters out there that are just dismissing this out of pocket, because all of the people that were offered by EJ Christian's argument in a way that, I'll be honest, I was not prepared to make tonight, and delivered a lot of good numbers there. I think the part that is just woefully ignorant about outright dismissing Andrew Luck is we'll put it this way. In any other space, name me a coach that would have allowed what happened to Luck happen who has a major quarterback. You think Andy Reid would have allowed that to happen?
Hell no.
Do you think Bill Belichick would have allowed that to happen? What created Bruce Arians was Chuck Pagano having cancer. And I don't mean to go while Geno Smith getting punched in the face was better for the Jets when that happened, but when that happened, it was better for the Jets. Chuck Pagano, as it would turn out, and I know this is not going to be a politically correct take, I am straight, cold, hard football on this one. Chuck Pagano missing that time for his cancer treatment birthed Bruce Arians such that he was, so he could be a coach who, by the way, protected Tom Brady better than Patrick LaVon Mahomes II was protected in the Super Bowl, because he was missing offensive line in a way that Andrew Luck was throughout his entire bleeding career. And then they finally get Quentin Nelson, and then he retires. Yeah, I'm still a little angry about that. I'm not even a Colts guy. The punchline is this: people who will go after Andrew Luck are too busy being buried in numbers and not applying them properly. Has one Ernest E.J. Christian has done tonight. And frankly, anybody who says that he's not in is just not paying attention and is too busy propping overrated loser quarterbacks. Well, not loser quarterbacks, but overrated quarterbacks like Joe Namath, like Roger Staubach, and like Troy Aikman.
And Kyle, you shouldn't hold back.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, just get it out, man.
You just, you should, in the future, just let us actually hear how you feel.
We'll see. Some of us save it for the show rather than let it all loose on Twitter, Jim. That's
Who was that?
Yeah, Jim's the purple Twitter vomit.
I mean, again, I'm not afraid to deny what I am. Shawn, Andrew Luck, Hall of Famer.
Well, thanks for saving me for last, because when you're wrong, you're wrong. Here's the thing. EJ, he's right. You made some really strong points with the numbers, and when you go per game, and when you go with this, and you go with his rankings in the Colts, and you go with his rankings all time with yards, but here's the problem. And I'm going to go back here, and you're right. The robbery did happen. We were robbed of Andrew Luck. We were robbed of the chance to see him play. The robbery you didn't mention was that Andrew Luck was robbed probably of the opportunity of getting into the Hall of Fame. And whether or not you think he's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, I'm not going to argue with that. Based on the way that he played, he's definitely a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. The names that you compared him to and the people that you thought someone who would say no would compare him to, he's way better day by day. But here's the problem, is we have a lot of other numbers that we weigh into Hall of Fame and all-time greats and things like that, whether it's total touchdowns, total yards, total this, total that reward longevity. We reward longevity. We say, well, he has the most yards. And someone say, well, yeah, but he played for 35 years. It's like, that doesn't matter. That's impressive in itself. The unfortunate side effect of that is that when someone gets cut short, when somebody, for whatever reason, doesn't get the opportunity to prove they were a Hall of Fame player, when someone doesn't get the opportunity to finish a Hall of Fame career, then how do we just award them the Hall of Fame based on what could have been. And we're in an era now where the people that are voting and the people that are watching and the people that are doing have much shorter attention spans. They're not looking to the past. They don't even know who Joe Namath was. The people that Andrew Luck's going to be competing with are the people that are going to keep playing while he's waiting for the ballot. And all of a sudden, those numbers, the reason Patrick Mahomes is one of the other two names that EJ said is because he's playing in an era where the position is changing. And by the time Andrew Luck is on the ballot officially, and by the time that you would think that as a 4th or 5th year ballot person, he would get in, because he's not a first year ballot person.
Right.
But by the time you're at year 4 or year 5 or year 6, you're going to have people that haven't even started a game in the NFL that are going to be within earshot of Andrew Luck's numbers. You're going to have, because the passing in the NFL today, you're going to have people that are miles behind him that are going to be catching. Jalen Hurts may catch him by the time that year comes, where you're like, this is the year where I said Andrew Luck would get in. Jalen Hurts may have more yards than him by the time, because you're talking about a 6-7 year career that
Right.
Hurts has played 2. So you're looking at, if it's 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're going to have a lot of players that have put up 4,000 yard seasons, 5,000 yard seasons. Even players that put up 35 consistently are going to be within straight. And it's, Matt Stafford got his chance to put the period on it. Matt Stafford put up a dynamite career with incredible numbers, and people thought he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Now he's got his bowl. Check. He's in. And I of all the scenarios that could have played out at the end of that season, that was the one I wanted, because I thought Matt Stafford played his ass off his whole career, put up dynamic numbers. There was a lot of it in garbage time in Detroit, maybe, but there was never any question in my mind that Matt Stafford wasn't good at the position that he played.
Here's the deal. Jalen Hurts is at 7,900 yards.
Which means he doesn't average 4,000 like Luck
Well,
did.
Nope.
but here's
Not
the deal.
yet.
Here's the deal. Year one, Jalen Hurts started 4 games, had 1,000 yards. The last 2 seasons, he's had 31 and 37. There was a season where Andrew Luck only played 7 games. He had 1,800 yards. So you have 2 1,000 yard seasons on the resume.
I'll even say this in Hurts defense too. Like Nick Sirianni.
Well, Hurts was just a name that I pulled out.
Right.
But I'm just saying that, like, as the continued protection of quarterbacks goes, the quarterbacks that survive that protection and
Right.
the way the rules are going and the lack of investment in running backs, like this is a league where passing numbers are going to be shattered beyond belief.
No, I hear that. And listen, Shawn, let me say what I'm about to mention about Hurts is in support of your argument. While I don't agree with it, like Hurts is a victim of actually the system he's playing in with Sirianni, who builds from the inside out and gets the running game right first. In other systems, Hurts might be a 4,000 a year guy. So yeah, I definitely want that accounted for in your argument if you're going to go that direction.
Well, and the trouble with Hurts is going to go into a lump of quarterbacks where, like, I think you're going to see a generation where you're going to have to transition passing yards to like total yards
because of all the running. Yeah, that's what
quarterbacks are going to be asked to run. Yeah,
that's the part I would argue with Luck not changing anything. He is arguably the first quarterback at that speed that embraced running. Certainly the first white quarterback at that speed that embraced running. To imply he did not change the game is an argument you can't make for.
Well, you mentioned Steve Young. I would argue that was
he never ran a 4.2 or 3 or whatever that was.
Not by speed, no, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So here's the deal. I pulled up a quarterback stats numbers. He's played. Andrew Luck played 86 games. This quarterback has played 97. This quarterback has 24,000 yards in his career. Andrew Luck had 23,671. This quarterback has a completion percentage of 66.6. Andrew Luck had 60.8. This quarterback, 166 touchdowns to 65 interceptions. Luck 171 to 83. So very similar percentage, similar quarterback rating.
How many games played for this mystery quarterback?
97. Luck has played 86.
Is this other quarterback in the Hall of Fame or no? Or are they a current quarterback?
This quarterback has ran for 26 rushing touchdowns on top of his passing touchdowns. Luck had 14. This quarterback is Dak Prescott.
I knew you were. See, I knew it.
Is Dak Prescott a Hall of Famer if
No.
he walks away today?
He also has played with infinitely better rosters than
Not even
Andrew
close.
Luck
Not
ever
even close. Not even close. Yep.
Okay, so not even close.
So Andrew Luck's not close. So now all of a sudden people are like, oh,
had.
No, I'm saying-
numbers just aren't there for a career, even if that career was.
Let me
cut short.
ask you a question. Let's hypothetically on Sunday, we're gonna do is Pat Mahomes says, "I'm done. I want to retire. I'm just done."
There you go. There's the argument. Go, EJ.
Does he? Is he Hall of Famer? Because right now he's getting top
Who?
5 all-time booking.
No,
Patrick
you're
Mahomes.
asking the question wrong, EJ. How many people have already said if Patrick LaVon Mahomes II retires today, he's already in the Hall? And they're doing that on the strength of team achievement.
Not just Hall, Kyle. He's already getting top 5 all-time looksies now.
That's not the question, but I see
I
what
mean,
you're
he's
saying.
also. I mean, he has similar numbers to.
Yeah, I think numbers wise, the
Andrew
answer
Luck.
is no. But there's a big number that he has that Luck doesn't have.
Oh, the team achievement, you mean?
Yeah,
He's also been the league
unfortunately,
MVP.
yeah,
twice.
Okay, so we're back
and
to
an MVP. Yeah.
This isn't me going after you, Shawn. This is a problem I have with, the way actually.
But if you're asking me, in my opinion, if Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Famer, if he quits today, no.
You're consistent, I'll give you credit for that, Bondo.
In my opinion,
Right. It's the
Do I think
longevity
people
that
would vote
hurts
him
him.
in?
And I will say the same thing about
but
Mahomes.
you also focus in like, are we talking about all of like the political agenda of today? Like, is the fact that he's it's a black quarterback versus a white, like, is that gonna play? Like,
I'll say this. I think Mahomes transcends color, but it's a good point.
yeah, but it's just kind of like when the voting push came to shove in the voting. But if you're asking me right now, if Pat Mahomes is a first ballot Hall of Famer on his current numbers, I would say no.
I don't think first ballot, but see, that's my point. Longevity is what assures that first
The trouble
ballot.
is he just won one.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he did retire today,
Actually,
that would be a good
right,
time
a
to
little
do
The,
it.
the thing is, Mahomes probably would be a first ballot. But because he's walking away as a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
That would help.
He would 100% be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He
Eli
probably
Manning's a
would,
2-time Super Bowl champion.
Been to 3 times.
but
Here's-
he didn't
here's-
retire, he
here's-
didn't retire after he won either.
He's been the final. He's been the Final 4 every year since he's been in the league.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say about
That's
about
a pretty
Andrew Luck.
unreal scenario. Yeah.
It's fucking sick. It's sick.
Final 4 every year. What are you talking about?
He's talking about Pat Mahomes. He's defending Pat Mahomes right
I
now.
thought
I
he-
thought you were talking Eli Manning, and I got really
Eli Manning. I was like,
confused.
Eli Manning. What are you?
No, come on.
But it
stop.
took me a
that's a
second,
hell
but
of
I
a
got it.
fucking run.
If you didn't cheer for so many teams, EJ, it wouldn't be confusing.
Calm down, Kyle.
The one team you don't cheer for, and we're supposed
Which
to
Chiefs
know?
are we talking about right now?
Here's-
How many
here's-
Chiefs does he root for?
Here's what I'm going to say about Andrew Luck.
The Steve the Bird Chiefs.
The longevity hurts him for sure. Absolutely. Do I think he is a Hall of Famer? I do not. I'm more in camp Shawn.
Thank you.
Now-
There's plenty of room in Camp Shawn.
Wow. Camp
Yeah.
wrong.
Here's
Oh God.
now here's the deal. Here's the deal. Will Andrew Luck be a Hall of Famer? Yes.
You think so?
I think Andrew Luck will get into the Hall of Fame.
I don't agree
Like
with
on
that.
a
at all.
sentimental
I
vote.
don't either. I don't know.
Gross.
Yeah, see, listen.
If he
so
was a
much-
baseball player, he wouldn't be.
oh hell no, yeah, you're right about
Those
that.
baseball
they're-
voters would be
they're-
like, screw
they're
you and your
fucking
short
idiots.
career.
Sterling Sharp isn't in yet. That's evidence enough for
How many
me.
years did he play? Do
7.
we know?
7.
It's the same? 7?
Yeah,
Sterling
7.
Sharp?
7.
Quarterback versus tight end is different.
But the Sharp brothers transcended the position there.
I'm not denying that.
I thought
Was he-
Sterling
was he a
Sharp was a
receiver?
wide receiver.
He was a receiver.
But receivers
you're
are
right, he
treated
wasn't.
differently too. Art Monk didn't get in for how many years after he was eligible?
Well,
Who's
it's,
that?
again, we're back to the Hall not knowing what to do with their product, because like half the time, the numbers. I mentioned quarterbacks that don't have numbers but have rings on the backs of other people.
Well, they're gonna and that's what's gonna hurt Andrew Luck. I was talking about that kind of transition to the current level of the game, where players are throwing for these immense amounts of yards, and even if it's only 1 year at a time. What Drew Brees did in the last 7 years of his career was more impressive than what Andrew Luck did in the first 7 of his. Like, it's just like as things, and I mean, I'm not looking at the numbers.
And I'm processing. You're fine.
You're
I'm
processing.
go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
Drew Brees just consistently put up like nonsense numbers, like just 4,000 and above, sometimes 5. Did Drew Brees throw for 5,000 yards?
Maybe one
Can
year.
we verify that?
Twice.
I feel
Maybe
like
one-
Drew Brees threw for
twice?
5,000 yards.
He might have done it 3 times. I don't know. But Drew Brees
3 times?
Drew Brees also had ridiculous supporting casts.
He
Like
may
no one's
have.
talking about that.
I mean, not originally. Very fortunate
Drew Brees
injury.
threw
in
for
Drew Brees'
5,000
career.
yards 5 times.
5 times.
Damn. So
That's insane.
that's the thing. How many? Even his running back isn't a great runner because he's catching passes. Name the last time Alvin Kamara got 1,000-yard season. Here's a hint. It's been at least 3 years. Okay, and that's the point I was making earlier to support you on Hurts, Shawn. Is throwing the ball with Sean Payton, you're going to get
Can
more.
someone just tell me when Alvin Kamara came into the league?
2017, I think. 16 to 17.
I mean, Dalvin Cook has been a better.
2017, Alvin Kamara came into the league.
I think so.
Drew Brees threw for 5,000 yards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before Alvin Kamara was on his team.
Okay, that's not the point I'm making, but it's interesting to know. But that's what I'm saying, though. Drew Brees' presence and Sean Payton's presence are important. And again, who did Andrew Luck have that was a good coach? The environment needs to matter if we're going to have that conversation.
But so does the longevity, because when you look at
That's
Drew
why he's not
Brees
for
in
sale.
his first 7 years, like when you look at Drew Brees, if Drew Brees' career had been cut short
Mhm.
in 7 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it would have been 2007.
Mhm.
Drew Brees would have played in 6 complete seasons.
He ain't getting in, that's for sure.
Hold on. How
No.
many times did he throw for 5 in that span?
I don't think any.
0.
Okay, well, yeah,
He
he
threw
wouldn't
for
have gotten
4,000 twice, 3,000 twice, 2,000 once.
to your point, Shawn, those were the days where 4,000 wasn't just a Dan Marino number anymore. Like 4,000 was.
And
starting
that was my biggest argument against Andrew Luck in the Hall of Fame, is the evolution. Drew Brees was part of the evolution to where we are now. It's and Sean Payton and Andy Reid and Bill Belichick.
But that's
and
why
all these
right. But
coaches
that's
that
also
fit in.
why. That's also why I threw the whole like, okay, I'll give you the
Mhm.
not first ballot part.
Exactly.
That's the part.
guys-
Well,
Okay.
Andrew Luck is
I'll give
far
it.
from first ballot.
Oh yeah, we agree with all that.
Andrew Luck, if he's going to get in,
is not for.
and I don't have a better way to say it, it will be by luck.
I see what you did
Oh,
there.
I like that. Such a there.
It will be a last ballot.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be comedic,
I mean, there is,
but it will be a last ballot sympathy vote,
but there is precedent
if
for this, though.
anything.
There
And
is
that's
precedent.
if there are still people left like you three
Right.
to argue that point at that time.
Well, Sean, there is
And
precedent.
there
for this,
won't
though.
be. I agree with
Let's
you.
look clear.
And I don't think that those people will be there. I don't think your historians, I don't think the people that understand. By the way, I'm classifying all of us as historians, in case you were wondering.
Thank you.
Might as well.
Because
Might as well.
we know what happened in the past. But the people that will be voting on his last ballot won't.
Isn't
They're
that
not going to care. They're going to look at Dan Marino's numbers and be like, how the hell did that guy get in? You know, like
Well-
some of us do. When we look at Namath and Unitas and all these people, we look at their numbers, you're like, how did they get in?
Well,
you know?
with Marino, he was throwing 5,000
How is Aikman a Hall of Famer?
before it was cool.
Well, because
So
Emmett Smith took most of the
Top
goddamn
5 all time, in my
touchdowns,
opinion.
that's why.
Dan Marino. So let's go there.
that's a separate question, Chief. The question was numbers, and he was throwing 5,000 in the 80s. That's going to jump off a sheet.
Of
Um,
course.
Yeah, Dan Marino put up unbelievable numbers. But there's still that argue that, like, was he the best quarterback all time? Well, probably not. He never won a Super Bowl. Like, you have those people. I have a short checklist of what I'm looking for, and Andrew Luck is not going to meet. Andrew Luck misses all of the misses that Dan Marino has and does not have a career behind it. He has half a career.
Well, I'll say
So it's that's my argument, is that I'm looking at who's going to be voting, who's going to keep passing in the meantime, and where his numbers are going to fall by the time the
Should-
voting happens, and I don't
Wait,
see him getting it.
EJ,
Go
hold
ahead,
on,
go ahead.
because we're dealing too much in the assumption that passing will get better. Actually, Shawn, if you look at quarterbacks now, especially MVP winners, they're trending more towards raising rushing numbers as well and not passing as much, right?
Well, sure, but as their contract negotiations go, they're going to start to spin it, like I said, to total yards. And I still don't know that Andrew Luck's going to stack up very well in a 7-year career against the total yards of a Lamar Jackson or a Jalen Hurts or even an Anthony Richardson by the time it comes voting time. I just don't see it happening.
Hence why I don't think he'll get in, because the same reason
a part of me hopes he does.
The question
because
is,
I know the career he would have had, or I think I know the career he would have had.
Jim,
Just like if Pat Mahomes retired today, we think we know.
Kyle, you're.
What's the question as it's posed? Are we?
Let me ask you this:
Are we asking?
Patrick Mahomes.
The question is Andrew Luck a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
No.
Not will he get in, but do we think he is?
Yeah. The question is he?
Then yes. Moving on.
Yes,
he would have been. Yes. Is he based on his numbers? No.
And let me be clear, Shawn. It's not that I dislike your argument.
But I'll throw you this just as like a tidbit. Like, think in your own head. You don't all have to go around a goddamn panel. But think about Patrick Mahomes, because we just debated it, and think about what's the better chance Patrick Mahomes would have for the Hall of Fame if he retired today, or if he kept playing but never got close to the same numbers he had now. Let's talk about like 2,500, 3,000 yards, half the touchdowns, but played for another 8 years.
In this scenario, does he still have the Super Bowl wins?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking he continues his career, but declines dramatically.
And to your point about the panel, such as they are,
or he stops today, which is his better chance at the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And you can just debate that in his, he never does anything else ever again, but plays for another 9 years. The second half of it as a backup because there's young kids that are better,
I won't debate it. I'll just answer it out loud. I think it's the previous. I think he has a better chance if he retires today and doesn't show decline, because if he shows decline, the panel will hold that against him.
Well, and that's my argument with Andrew Luck is what if he would have declined?
Okay, but what if he didn't? Like, that's why you can't do that too. Like,
right, and that's just it. The what if is
where the
why
lack
you
of
just have to
longevity
take the
hurts
numbers.
his resume.
Because Ray Lewis retires, man. That's all.
I'm going to lean with Kyle on the Mahomes question because he's leaving at the top. MVP, Super Bowl win. It's his second in 3 years.
Yeah.
But the great unknown is what hurts Andrew Luck. To me,
could have been, because everybody's like he would have continued this. Well, first of all, he was hurt for the last 2 years that he played. So like.
But the Colts were having an O-line, the likes of which they had not seen since Peyton Manning.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks that end up behind bad O-lines. The Chiefs run out of money. They overpay wide receivers or quarterbacks, and they don't have the money to pay the line anymore.
There's no evidence.
And then you just kill them.
And then you move it. No, you can't do that, Pond. That's not how that works. Like,
not supposed to be.
He could have gotten hurt, sure. He could have also
retires, just hand it off to someone else. And Mahomes' career just dies.
To be fair, there is precedence though. Gil Sayers played 7 years. He got in, and I was thinking the first ballot.
That's too. First off, you're talking ancient history. You're talking a different position, a different era of the game. I'm sorry, the Gale Sayers argument doesn't even come into play to Andrew Luck.
I don't think.
Not at all. And this is no disrespect to Gale Sayers. This is just being realistic.
There's people that watched Gale Sayers run that are like he was the fact that you have people that are like Gale Sayers was the best running back to ever play. There are people that say that.
Gale Sayers they'll Gale people who look at
there
Gale
is
Sayers,
no one that tells me Andrew Luck was the best
If
quarterback.
Pat Mahomes
would
would retire on Sunday afternoon,
where does Andrew Luck stack on Colts quarterbacks all time? Third?
2, because he happened to play behind Peyton Manning, and yes, he's better than Johnny Unitas.
Okay.
What
about? I would argue you're in the majority, but I would say that majority is probably about 65%.
What about Jeff George?
What about? Shut the fuck
What
up.
about Jeff George?
What an asshat.
Throwing lasers.
Whatever.
All right, let's move on. Agree to disagree.
For all the positives we're giving these other quarterbacks.
I'm also out of beer, so I need to go to the fridge. So let's move on.
Hey, me too, buddy. I feel you. For all the positives we're giving all the competition, we're not considering all the negatives that were held against Luck. That's my overall point.
That's fine, but I also don't know that Hall of Famers.
So the argument,
voters.
The panel is 3 yes, 2 no.
Yeah,
Yes.
3 yes wins.
And
all
the
right,
no's are related.
Jesus Christ.
And the no's are related.
Jesus Christ also not a Hall of Famer.
Can that be debated? I don't know.
I think I can be.
Why he's not in the NFL Hall of
All
Fame.
right, we're transitioning away from this topic. We're gonna, for the love of Christ, try to do this in rapid fire.
Yes, you did there. Good job.
This is something I do on the 3CT podcast on a regular basis. This or that. There's 2 things on random pieces of paper inside the Hershey Bears cup here.
And we're doing this fast, right?
Is
I've never done it.
Is there a Jeff George in there by any chance?
Is this high speed?
If you say Jeff George one more time, I will kick you off of this show.
I'm so mad that segment took this long.
I'm surprised you get 2 years in that, Kyle. Really?
Done this.
Okay, so
just dropping names.
This or that. Very simple. You'll be presented 2 things. You pick the one that you would rather have.
And we don't have to discuss it, right? We can just pick one.
Yeah. This doesn't have to be. Please do not let this be a long form discussion. Please.
We can just STFU.
I will go, and it'll be the same order every time.
Okay.
EJ, Kyle, Shawn, Mike.
Okay.
All right. The first one, all different sports things. Mini golf or bowling? EJ.
Bowling.
Kyle.
Bowling.
Shawn.
Bowling.
Mikey B.
I'm gonna give it a little tippity tap.
Damn right. It's mini golf. All right.
Dude, if you're gonna golf,
I thought he was rubbing one out. That's
Mini golf, fantastic
tippity tap
as well.
No one says it's bad, Jim.
Bowling fun, mini golf is better. EJ, college football or NFL football?
NFL.
Kyle.
For me, that's case sensitive, man. I can't answer. I have to abstain, man. Shit. Why don't you ask me to pick between my children, for fuck's sake?
Which one?
Pick one.
Pick one.
No, I'm not picking.
I'll pick one of my children right now if you'll do it.
Because I would. No, I'm joking.
No, I don't. I see now, Shawn, I don't want to be responsible for those therapy bills, man. Now I got even more pressure.
All right, because Kyle's a bitch, or Shawn?
NFL.
Excuse me. On a show where EJ exists? No.
I mean, EJ is also a bitch. It doesn't make you less of one.
I'm a bitch.
NFL, go Birds.
I'll say NFL today.
There we go. Mikey B.
The National Football League.
Nah, man. Give me Saturdays in the fall. All right.
Sure thing.
Next one.
What a bitch.
EJ's. Fuck off. I mean, I can see why you, a Florida State fan,
glad this is a fast segment.
Would go against college football. EJ, slap shot or Mighty Ducks?
Mighty Ducks.
Kyle.
Slap shot. Gosh,
yeah, that's not close.
Shawn.
I love the Mighty Ducks, but slap shot.
Mikey B.
Trying to listen to the anthem.
Listen to the fucking song.
Yeah, it's slap shot. EJ.
Period.
All right.
All
right. Watch just one playoff game of your favorite sport, or watch all playoff games of your second favorite sport. EJ.
Wait, watch one playoff game for a sport.
Do I get to pick the playoff game?
Wait, watch one.
Sure, like
game
it could be the championship game. You only get to watch one playoff game of your favorite sport, or all playoff games of your second favorite sport.
All playoff games of my favorite sport.
Really? Wow. Okay. Kyle.
Same. Yeah. That means I'm watching all of the college football playoff instead of the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm down.
That's still the same sport.
Football, NFL and college football were just posed as 2 separate.
Question was
on this show
the championship game of your one playoff game of your favorite sport.
Can you rule your? Give me a rule.
I'll allow it because college.
You're gonna go league.
College.
I can't watch this one NBA playoff.
So
game.
NCAA
college football is a different
sport.
In my mind, a different sport than the NFL.
Ugh,
now, I'll answer your question though, Shawn. If posed that way, then no, I would say just a football playoff.
You would take the one championship football game, whichever one you got,
Separate
over
that.
like your next sport.
Correct.
Okay.
But that's not interesting though. Do actual sports though. Forget the college and NFL part.
That's where I was at. I was like, am I taking
That's what
football,
Kyle literally
basketball,
just did.
baseball,
He
soccer,
said he would
hockey?
take the one football game over anything else.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
All right, Shawn.
I'm taking every hockey game over the Super Bowl.
That's
All
a
right,
good
Mike.
Every hockey playoff game over the Super Bowl.
Hockey's number 2
slash
for you, obviously.
championship game.
Okay.
Whichever college, NFL, it doesn't matter. I will take every game of the Stanley Cup playoffs over any championship game.
Same with the
football.
NBA with me also too.
That's a fine answer, Shawn.
Mikey B.
See, that's hard because, if you tell me that every year Game 7, like MLB is going to get to Game 7, then I'm taking Game 7.
You get to pick your game.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
if
so you
your
could just
favorite
say
sport is
championship
baseball,
team of
you get
the World
the game.
Series.
You get the last one, the one where a team is going to clinch in that game.
Okay.
assume
different.
that.
Oh, that's different. Okay.
Yeah.
Or are you saying you get the
Shawn
whole
asked
championship
the question
series?
at the top of the topic. He said, "Do you get to pick the game?" I said, "Yes." So if you picked a single game, you could pick the championship game of your
Like
favorite
the
sport.
game.
Oh,
Like, so
okay.
I think Mikey's question is if his is baseball. Is do you
I'm
get to
saying,
watch
I'm not-
the entire World Series, or do you have to
No, you watch Game 6.
like whatever the clinching game is?
I
Oh,
would,
God.
yeah, I would. And if it's Game 7 versus Game 5, and it was a garbage series, that shit matters. I'm with Burn on that.
Yeah.
No,
So
That
would
makes
get-
it hard for the other sports that aren't football.
Change my
It
pick
does
then.
make it
Game
hard
7
for that.
NBA Finals over.
Well, the championship game of the NBA.
Okay, but
Right.
to this example, Go Heat bitch was dropped in 5. You would have rather watched Game 5 of that debacle over the Super Bowl.
Because I'm a dire Heat fan, probably yes.
Without
Okay.
knowing what the outcome was. That's the downside.
Right.
It's like
Because
you
I'm
just-
a dire Heat fan. Yeah, probably
you
yes.
know you're getting the decisive game of a series that your team may or
It was.
may not be.
It was a
in.
good game though. Game 5 was a good game though. Went down to the wire.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that I'm making this choice not knowing whether my
Right.
team's going to be in either game.
No, you are. It is a broad. It is not team specific. It is a broad
Right? It's like
question.
preseason of all sports. Like in the next year, you're going to get to watch this.
Right. So in my case,
Okay.
I will take a Game 7 in the NBA over.
or
my
a
favorite
clinching
sport
game in
over-
the
I didn't think
NBA.
this
Right.
question was that
Over.
hard.
Right. No,
You
right.
don't. It's not even necessarily game 7. It could be game 4. It is.
I will
You're
I will
taking.
take the decisive game of Major League Baseball season.
over the Super
every-
Bowl.
Every time. Okay, there you go. That's that, and that's the answer.
This guy
Perfect.
gets it.
You're welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Took
Yes,
him a
it is
while.
like you're. Yeah, it is the decisive. If you have a sport with multi-game
It's like
series,
teaching calculus to a caterpillar.
you are
I mean,
taking. So for me, the question is
That's
easy.
the reason we got here, for fuck's sake. He
I'm on
actually
the mix.
started the fire in the orphanage before he saved the children. Stop it.
Buddy, I'm on the
Easy
mix.
answer for me.
well
I am
motivated.
watching the final game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Period. I am
mean-
watching Lord Stanley get raised, whether it's my team or not.
Man.
See, I get to do that because it's my second favorite sport.
And that's fine. Hockey
I
is
get
my
all of
favorite
them.
sport.
You get more
Football's
games.
my second favorite. I'm a Notre Dame fan and a Cowboys fan. I ain't going through that trouble to not watch my team win.
I don't blame you.
Next,
I gotta
NBA.
You're the one making out like a bandit here, dude. Your answer is
I win. I win that.
next topic.
That's a good one,
Jesus Christ. Throwing baseball or throwing football?
Throwing football.
Thank you, Kyle.
Love
throwing
both, though, but yeah.
football. What are you talking about right
Let
now?
me throw a
Shawn.
baseball. I'm throwing it. I'll throw a baseball.
Yeah. Mikey.
I do one of those two every Sunday, so give me the baseball.
Oh, you and your sentimental.
Yeah, I like throwing the football around like a tailgate.
I'd rather just throw a game entirely.
All right. Hoosiers or Space Jam?
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
If you answered this wrong, EJ, I will fucking murder you.
I actually don't even like Space Jam, to be honest with you.
Thank God.
So whatever. I mean, Hoosiers.
There you
Space
go.
Jam.
Stop it, Shawn. Who's
You know,
Got a better
obviously,
soundtrack.
The only reason I'll pick Space Jam is probably because Charles Barkley's in the movie. That's it.
Charles Barkley is an
That is
amazing
it.
force of nature.
Also,
That
Bill
is it.
Murray's in it.
Bill Murray is also an amazing
Yes.
force of nature.
See that goalpost?
And
getting moved.
Newman from Seinfeld.
But
I
I
believe he's
am
in
not
there.
a big Space Jam fan at all. I'm not.
Mikey B.
Newman from. By the way, we're talking about the Michael Jordan Space Jam, right?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, don't want
I've
to
never
matter.
seen the
Jam.
other one.
That one's terrible.
It's
I'll
like,
take
it's like
Space
the
Jam.
Johnny
I think the
Depp
soundtrack's
Wonka. We
better.
don't
I get
acknowledge
some R.
it.
Kelly back there. Fly. I'll take Space Jam,
All right,
despite
Mikey
the
B.
fact that it's lower on my list of sports films than Hoosiers. But if I have to pick between watching one of the two, I'm taking Space Jam.
I'm glad we're keeping this rapid fire. Mikey B.
Give me the Bobby Knight led Indiana Hoosiers.
Well, they
Yeah.
fought back on my Space Jam. I had to push back again.
Hoosiers. All right. All right, next one. Good
Who's your
price. One guaranteed title for your favorite team, or leave it all up to fate.
I'm always taking the
Ooh.
title.
Now, if I take the one, that means no more.
Correct.
Okay.
One
Ooh.
title for your favorite team in your
Okay, this is
lifetime.
not fair for EJ because then he gets like 32 fucking titles. Like what the?
Okay, so whatever team he deems as his favorite.
One of his.
I already
for
won.
EJ
You know my answer. Face.
For
Okay.
EJ, one of his teams gets a title and never again. Or
I've
leave
got-
it up to fate.
I've
EJ
got-
just leaves it up to fate.
I've
'cause
got, I've
he's
got
got
3 the
1,000
last
teams
15
competing.
years. I'm good. I mean,
Yeah, fate.
fucking Fate's cool. I'll do Fate. I'm gonna go shit.
All right, Kyle.
Fate for me because my team's already got 5 rings. So there you go.
Shut up.
There you go. Sean.
Based on the promise that I made to the world before the Eagles won a few years ago, I'll take the one.
All right, Mikey B.
You're talking to the guy who's in Vegas. I like to
And I may have
gamble.
only gotten one.
I like it to gamble. We're
See,
going
here's
to
the
gamble.
thing: if you weren't the guy in
You're
Vegas,
nothing but a
Oh, come on. This goddamn soundboard is going to be the death
Shut
of
it
me.
you're nothing but a degenerate.
Thank
Is it
you.
Cap- is it-
The voice actor backups kicked in.
you're nothing but a degenerate.
You being a Bengals fan, Mikey Byrne, you may not want to throw that away so quick. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Just one
I
of the
like it to
Chiefs
gamble.
won,
I'm
best ESPYs, the best team in the ESPYs, in case you're wondering.
What's that?
The Chiefs are the best team according to the ESPYs.
I think Matt has a sounder for that.
I'm
Best
shocked
team
to
in
le-
sports.
I'm shocked to
my
learn that the
God.
ESPYs are still a thing.
I didn't know until my phone told me.
I'm being honest. I'm taking the one guaranteed title. I want to
Just give me the one.
Just give me one more. Just give me one. Just
Hell
give me
of
one
fate.
more. Let me just taste them.
Guarantee the one.
EJ, get better internet in your fucking candy van. Next one, cornhole or horseshoes?
This isn't close.
Cornhole.
All right,
Cornhole.
cornhole. Kyle.
This is a why not both. I would love both of these, but I'll say
Pick one.
easy.
Calm down, Sean.
I said cornhole. Relax. Holy shit.
Cornhole.
Mikey B.
I am the great Cornholio.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, cornhole.
I didn't see them all.
Consensus. The consensus.
The corn. I like that.
Christ. Caddyshack or Happy Gilmore?
Jesus Christ.
Oh shit. Caddyshack.
There's no wrong answer here.
Yeah, there really isn't, but Caddyshack. But Caddyshack.
All right. Kyle.
Happy Gilmore.
Gilmore.
Mikey.
I don't want a piece of you, Bob. I want the whole fucking thing.
No, man. Give me Caddyshack. All right. Next one. Sports talk radio or sports talk TV show?
Radio easily radio.
Kyle.
Radio, because then I
Yeah.
can listen to myself and not the other douches on TV that suck at their job.
Yeah, based on what I'm seeing on my screen right now, radio.
My man.
Mikey.
Video killed the radio star.
Yeah.
What answer is that?
Great radio.
Radio.
Okay.
All right.
I thought you meant TV too.
I thought he
Sean.
meant TV.
I'm with you, buddy.
No, I took that as radio.
I love TV.
All right. Peyton Manning or Tom Brady? Interpret this however you'd like.
You already know my answer. Kyle, go ahead.
Get off his dick, EJ
Thank
Manning.
you.
Manning.
Ew. They both suck.
Here he goes.
Tim Anderson.
You
Asshat.
gotta suck one of them.
Jesus Christ.
Pick one.
I'll take the ghost of Seneca Wallace.
Fuck.
Give me
Tom
Peyton.
Answer's Tom Brady.
Give me Peyton Manning for the SNL sketches alone.
Nice. Cut that meat.
All right. Home run derby or slam dunk contest?
Home run derby, actually.
You're an idiot. Slam dunk contest.
No, home run derby is fucking awesome.
Guy, you pick home run
I've
derby.
watched way more home run derbies than I have slam dunk contests, and I'm gonna take the dunk contest.
Thank you. This guy gets it.
Faster,
I
harder,
love the
stronger.
derby, man. Derby's awesome.
This guy gets it.
We watched like 8,000 home runs on Monday, and people are like, I want to watch guys do dunks that we watched Vince Carter do like fucking 10 years ago. Yeah, no,
I
sign
want
me
to
up.
see him do it again. I want to see someone else do it.
I want to see
Yeah,
Dominique
well,
Wilkins.
That's what YouTube's for, guys.
Dunk
Yeah.
from the foul line.
And I'll
the
watch
problem-
it on YouTube before I watch that bullshit that puts the rest of the nation to sleep. In your alleged favorite.
The only home run video I watched all
Hold
week
on.
was the one of a
Hold
kid
on.
getting hit in the face.
Allegedly.
Let's also talk about the fact that there is
It's not a
insert-
discussion, Mike. Just
Oh,
pick
no.
one of the two.
No, see, it is going to be a discussion because I'm going to make it one like you did
Don't.
about fucking other
Don't.
bullshit.
I will
So
log
here
off.
we go, boys. The slam dunk contest where insert random rookie here is the fucking guy who's doing it that nobody gives a fuck about. At least we have the superstars of fucking Major League Baseball.
Oh,
hitting
right,
home
because
runs.
Shohei
Give me
Ohtani was in
800
it.
fucking home run derbies.
Tell him,
before I
Shawn.
watch
I didn't
Doc
realize
Smith,
Ohtani
you
and
know.
Trout and Harper and those guys. I didn't see them hit. How'd they do in the home run derby?
3-point
about as
contest
good as
overall.
LeBron James and fucking all those
Yeah,
other.
that's the answer,
So
EJ.
you're
Well
saying
played.
it's the same.
That's
Pick
the one
one.
I was doing.
All right, we're moving
People
on. Home run derby is my answer, just to make
Good.
Kyle mad. Field of Dreams or Major?
Good.
A Major League, you said?
Major League
Yeah.
or Field of Dreams, yeah.
Major League easily. Major League easily, not even close.
And a matter of fact, it's so easy. I'm going to refer to Jim as a defendant because it's his fault that the Utes won the goddamn Pac-12 last year.
No, that's
My life's sad. I'll take Field of Dreams.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I just felt like I need to give you a hug then. That's all.
It's a better film. I went funnier film before. I'll take better film this time.
Forget
Mikey?
the curveball, Ricky. Bring him the heater.
yeah. It's Major League. UFC or boxing?
That's a
That's
good.
tough,
that's a
actually,
good-
because I used to love boxing back in the day.
I gotta get out of here though. I gotta go to bed.
Oh, shit. Oh, UFC. I'll go UFC for now. It's close. It's close.
Yeah, I don't know of any elite boxer I care about anymore. I got UFC.
I like rules boxing.
That's a fair answer.
I like the sports that doesn't have intentional diving in it. Give me the UFC.
That means you never watch soccer, apparently.
Yeah, give me UFC out of those two. All right, the Masters or the British Open, the Open Championship.
This
Masters.
shouldn't be close.
Masters.
You watch golf on TV? No.
Barely, if that.
I'll say the Masters for the F of it.
The fourth hole here at Augusta Masters.
Hello, friends.
I would have taken the Ryder Cup over the Open Championship, and
No one asked that question, Mike. Just pick
Then I
one.
would have picked the Ryder Cup. No, see, I'm gonna delay these because I'm on Las Vegas time, so fuck you guys. Yeah, give me the.
I'll just kick you out of the studio if you're going to intentionally filibuster.
No.
Would that be the first? Would that be
It's
the
only
first,
8 o'clock here.
Would that be the first removal of somebody who's not EJ? Holy shit!
Yeah, I'll take Sundays in.
I'm in
Augusta.
Florida. I'm farther east than everybody else.
All right, give me a
I'm
Augusta.
Florida too, buddy.
Hey, buddy, you're farther east.
Why
than
not
me.
than you? I'm on fucking Palm Beach.
I'll say I'm
You're on the
actually
other side.
probably-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the Gulf.
Yeah.
All right, Winter Olympics or Summer Olympics?
Summer Olympics.
I know Jim's answer. I'm going to side with him. I'm going to Winter Olympics.
Winter.
Duh, winter.
Yeah, winter for sure.
Total events are better.
Curling.
All right,
Curling's on
the,
there, yeah.
the Pro Bowl games or the NHL skills competition?
NHL skills competition.
Skills. Duh.
Skills.
What the fuck, Clyde?
I get to watch a guy shoot a puck at 137 miles an hour. I'm never saying no to that.
Yeah, it's the skills, man. All right, are you throwing out the first pitch or are you flipping the ceremonial coin?
Based on my current level of talent,
Throw out the first pitch.
However you might interpret it, I think there, Sean. I in a twist of fate that no one will expect, I would rather throw out the first pitch.
I think I would still rather throw out the first pitch despite my lack of faith in myself to get it home.
EJ, you want to give your answer?
I just did.
He did.
Pitch.
He just
The
did it
pitch.
very quietly and
pitch.
mumbly because there wasn't somebody to talk.
Yeah, he
over.
didn't call you a
So-
bitch. He said he would pitch.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Mikey.
No, Samuel.
Do you understand?
I mean, if I'm throwing it from the mound, I'm taking ceremonial first pitch because I'm not letting myself throw it from the fucking cut because I'm not a bitch. So yeah, first
That
pitch.
could be debated.
I mean, I'm flipping that
Hey.
coin. I'm not getting Baba buoyed all over fucking sports. I'm flipping the coin. Favorite
come
jersey?
on.
Are we at the last one yet?
2 more, I think. Favorite jersey or favorite hat?
Hat.
Yes, I mean hat.
Jersey.
Jersey.
I can tell.
Jersey.
I mean, you know my shtick, Sean. Like, look, sorry, that
All right, last one. Varsity Blues or Friday Night Lights? The movie, by the way.
Ooh, Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
It's tight,
Varsity
though. It's
Blues.
close, though. It's close.
Fuck Kilmer.
That's
Making
why I picked Varsity Blues.
Give it a 10.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the
Fucking
overrated line that everybody knows whether they've seen the movie.
I'm
or-
back, boys. Puke and rally.
I don't want your life if that's your movie.
Miss Davis, you go prom me.
All right.
Varsity Blues is so fun.
Varsity Blues is the correct answer. Let's
All
move.
right. Well, we're done. That's it.
That's it.
Yes.
So over.
We
Okay.
made it.
We've made it. We're
Oh,
done.
listen for you.
We will be back. Thank you, gentlemen. Jesus, I didn't think we'd actually get to the end of this show,
Jesus Hall of Famer.
but we did it. Okay,
Of
well,
carpentry.
that'll be a debate for next off season, I suppose. But we will be back in a few more weeks. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast feed. Anywhere you can get your podcast, YouTube channel as well. You can get our merchandise over at tpublic.com, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all at Huddle Up Podcast. Hit the show notes on this episode. You'll find all of our personal Twitters. And until next time, continue to enjoy your off season. We'll be back in the podcast feed in a few weeks. We will be back live beginning at the end of August, and we will take you through the upcoming football season. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.